Top five, top five, top five.
So then topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wayne. He is Nate, and today we are doing our top five worst movies of 2019.
Right, and if you don't know how we do our top fives, one of us will do 5 and 4, 5 and 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, and we'll trade off number ones. We also have something we call the Zemeckis rule, and Strange Wayne shall explain.
Yeah, based on the film Back to the Future, which did not come out in 2019. If someone has a movie 2 spots of higher on their list, we'll say the movie for them because they hate it more in this case. So my number 5 is Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. My number 5 is Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I was just bored through the entire film, so there's that. And on top of that, I can't get away from the fucking movie. I go on Twitter, Rose didn't have no screen time. In the last fucking movie, you complained and bullied her off of Twitter. So what do you want? Facts! Number 4 is another movie I couldn't get away from. They called it a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. This is a mediocre piece of garbage. And I call it a piece of garbage because it's unoriginal. Yes, it's based on a comic book character, but the Joker is Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver and Martin Scorsese's I'm so aggravated. I can't think of the name of
the comedian.
Yeah,
right.
It's not called The Comedian. It's It's not called that either.
Obviously.
And Martin Scorsese's King Comedy. Todd Phillips took these two, put them together, and made Joker, and put Scorsese and De Niro's name in there so people will come. And this film sucks. You throw in the Batman references, which is like, Batman again. I gotta see his parents die one more time. I hated that. I hated a lot of things about this movie.
I'm confused. Is it mediocre or does it suck?
I thought it was mediocre when I watched it, but now it sucks. So it's really mediocre probably, but I was just tired of hearing masterpiece and this film in the same sentence because it's not.
I agreed.
You're 5 and 4.
Just in case it wasn't made clear enough before, this is definitely just our least favorite movies. I'm not saying that these are the worst movies.
We don't get paid to see movies, so we don't have to see bad movies.
Right. So my number 5 is, in fact, The Irishman.
You serious?
This is a movie about a shitty person who lets shittier people talk him into doing shittier things than he normally does. So basically, it's all just a bunch of shit.
That's kind of harsh.
I 100% disagree.
It's a movie about nothing but shitty people doing shitty things. There's not a good person in that movie. And if they are, they got hurt because of shitty people's actions.
Well, as everyone else said in that movie.
I'll fight all of them, I don't care. Number 4 on my list is going to be Detective Pikachu. I love Pokemon. I am 100% a child of the 90s. I played every single Pokemon game that has come out.
The 1890s.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a vampire. And the Pokemon lover in me enjoyed this film, but it has a lot of problems. There are definitely way better directions that they could have taken a film that's based on this franchise. I don't think that I will ever be a fan of the whole, let's combine people and Pokemon thing. We shouldn't have had one of them talking. I wasn't a huge fan of that premise from the start. You and anyone who regularly watches our channel know how I feel about live action movies that have talking animals in them. I was hoping I would be a little more okay with it when it was Pokemon, but the story should have just been about the people. And yes, I understand that Detective Pikachu was actually a person the whole time, but you know what I mean. Don't be an ass.
And that's all I got to say about that.
My number 3 is a film we were hyped about together, and we saw together. We were both like, what the fuck are we watching? And it is Greta.
That's going to be a Zemeckis.
Holy, same haircut.
Yeah.
My number 2 is The Dead Don't Die. You have Zombies, which I'm not a fan of. That's cool. You have Adam Driver, which is
phenomenal. He's so good.
One of my favorite actors of this generation, of the 2010s. Bill Murray.
So funny.
One of the greatest comedy actors of all time. And you have a lot of people else on there. Danny Glover. I love Danny Glover. And you just have the comedy's flat. You introduce all these characters in this big cast, and this ensemble cast doesn't even meet each other. It's stale. The comedy and it's terrible. It's a mess of a movie with one good line, and I almost ruined it. When Adam Driver's like, ghouls. That's the only good part of this movie. This film fucking sucks.
My number 3 is going to be Glass. Very early film this year. We also went and saw that together. And it just like, I like this franchise. I like the premise. I like the whole, let's kind of tone down the superhero-ness of superheroes. Like make it a little more human, a little more relatable. Unbreakable is a great film. I love that one a lot. Split was very good. I really enjoyed Split a lot too. And Glass just kind of fell flat for me.
Did it break?
It felt poorly paced. It felt like the character, the James McAvoy's character is easily the most interesting on screen just because of he's playing however many different characters all at once, essentially.
23 like Dr. Pepper.
There you go. And I feel like it was a waste of Samuel L. Jackson. Anytime you have Samuel L. Jackson in a movie, like, if I'm watching a film and I'm like, James McAvoy is so much more interesting to me than Samuel L. Jackson right now, you're not doing something right. And that's not saying that he's not interesting or shouldn't be interesting, but when you have Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson, gotta use him a little better. Number 2 on my list is Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Vile, and Evil. The Zac Efron starring.
That came out this year?
Yeah, early. According to Wikipedia, it did. So
take your word for it.
I'm taking Wikipedia's word for it. I know I watched it, and I'm pretty sure it came out this year. But I'm going to double check now. It did come out in 2019, and me and Wikipedia were correct. This film, it's poorly paced. Ted Bundy, serial killers suck. They do. They're all assholes. And I have zero... I don't know if sympathy is the right word, because most of them have mental disorders that were not their fault, but you are still someone who's wreaking havoc on society, and you need to be removed from it. And that being said, Ted Bundy is often regarded as like one of the most charismatic. People could not help but love this guy because he was just so charismatic. And I feel like I've seen plenty of films where that is also Zac Efron. Like, as much as I just want to think about you as this little twerp from Disney Channel, I can't help but freaking love the guy sometimes.
Yeah.
He's funny. Right? I like him a lot. And I just feel like it just didn't work for some reason. It's like Efron was almost trying to tone down his own charisma to match how the guy was in real life.
That's actually a good point.
And it just fell flat for me. I just didn't enjoy it that much at all, and I felt like it could have been done a lot better.
You're goddamn right.
My number 1 film that I actually do hate because some fucking reason it was on Steelbook and I was like, I got the rest of them. I got to buy this one. I didn't see it in theaters. I'll watch it. Dark Phoenix. X-Men Dark Phoenix. This thing is fucking terrible. These motherfuckers are fighting aliens. This thing's about mutants, but they're like, let's throw some aliens in that bitch. Some aliens on that bitch? Put some aliens on that bitch.
Do you fuck with the aliens?
So I don't know why they're fighting aliens. Are the aliens explained? No. There's some plot conveniences because they're aliens. You don't know what the fuck they be doing and shit. Because it cuts away. Because they don't even know what they're doing.
Nice.
Like, about to kill some motherfuckers. They'll cut away.
Yeah.
And then McAvoy and Fassbender, I feel like their climax of... Because this is the last movie.
Oh my.
We know this is the last movie. Their climax of their friendship, their hatred for each other goes flat.
Yeah.
It was a waste. Coming off of Apocalypse, I feel like they should have known you can't rush these big storylines, so they should have took care of it. But the man who did X-Men 3 Last Stand, who fucked up the Phoenix Saga the first time, he was like, we're letting him write it too. We'll give him a second chance at writing. We'll let him direct it. There's nothing good in this movie. This is one of the worst films of the decade. This thing is terrible. The worst, I would say, I'm not going to say the worst, there's been some terrible superhero movies in the 90s, but easily the worst superhero movie this decade. This god awful. Sophie Turner has no charisma. Like, she's so unlikable and so bad in this. Like, I've seen her in Game of Thrones. I know she can act. This is terrible. Scott Summers, I've seen him in the fucking video game movie Ready Player One. He was good in that. They showed up for a paycheck. Everybody phoned it in. This film's
Hot garbage. Still trash.
and my worst of the year.
Nice. So my number 1 is going to be the Zemeckis, who was your number 3, and it's going to be Greta.
The reason why it's my number 3, you know how bad of a film it is, and I'll let you say everything you don't like about it, because I'll probably agree with it. But after a while, that shit was funny. It turned into a comedy for Strange Wang.
When she starts doing that weird little ballet dance and shit around her living room, that was the moment where I was just like, yep, I had my suspicions for the previous runtime, but now I'm sure this is a terrible film. But it was funny. I think what bothered me about it so much was expectation. We did a trailer reaction to it, and both of us were like, this looks suspenseful, like chilling, but like, you know, investable at the same time. So I went in it with this expectation that I was going to really enjoy this film.
And Chloe's a great actress.
And oh, buddy, was I wrong. This film is
so fucking terrible.
Homegirl who plays Greta overacts the shit out of it. The pacing is terrible. Parts of it are just very boring and draggy. It does not build nearly as much suspense and anxiety as I wanted it to. I don't know. It hurt me because I wanted it to be good.
There's a good movie inside that movie.
And we talked about that afterwards. And I think that's what it is that movie gets rewritten by the right person and the right director and recast that one role. Like, that could have been a really good movie. I mean, you give that to Helen Mirren or someone like that. Like,
I'll say you keep Greta as Greta and just let Fincher direct it.
Okay.
And you still get a better movie,
I
you know?
can see that, yeah.
I think it was a script and a writing problem because it's like, okay, you're suspenseful. It's a 2-pump jump every time it tries to get suspenseful.
Yeah.
It ends way too quickly. But this video is going on 14 minutes. It's going to be edited down.
Right.
But it's going on a little too long like Greta did. So, those are our top 5 worst films of 2019. Tell us your least favorite film down in the comment section below. And tell us about how wrong we are about the Joker. This is a masterpiece. And how wrong I am about Rise of Skywalker, because it's going to be one person I know.
You can tell me how right I am about The Irishman.
Get the fuck out of here.
Nah, I'm going to bash you in the fucking comment section.
See you there, bitch.
Like, share, and subscribe.